Hello and welcome. I'm Jaime Ocon, and here's what happened this week. The government says it plans to adjust property tax policies to discourage house hoarding. Eric Tai has more.
It's hard to buy a house in Taiwan. The country has one of the highest house prices to income ratios in the world. But the government is hoping to try and change that. The cabinet has proposed regulations to increase taxes for house hoarders, hoping they offload properties for new homeowners. The first part of the proposal looks to list properties at the national level rather than at the local level. For example, if someone owns 3 houses in Taipei and 3 houses in Taichung, they are currently taxed separately. The proposed bill would instead group all 6 together for tax purposes. That would substantially increase taxes for owners of multiple properties. However, this is only for homes that the owner doesn't live in. Property tax for owner-occupied dwellings would be reduced, while taxes for additional properties would be increased across the board. But the head of research for a commercial real estate investment agency has some concerns about this proposal. She says that while housing transactions have dropped this year, housing prices have stayed the same, which could be an indicator that the increased taxes may not have much impact. But she does acknowledge that prices may drop over time.
If the total transaction volume continue to go down in the next few quarters, we do believe that we will start to see a moderate decline in housing prices going forward.
While the government is hoping to make it easier for people to afford houses, Lee says they should focus on increasing income.
So we think that it's really up to the government to consider how to make everyone and every Taiwanese people in different industries, not just in the high-tech industries, can increase their household income, so they will be the housing prices will be more affordable to these people.
For now, the government is pushing the property tax angle, hoping house hoarders will offload their properties and let more people have a place to call home. James Lin and Eric Tai for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has wrapped up 3 days of military drills near the southern city of Pingdong. I was there to see how the country is practicing how to defend its coast.
One by one, Taiwanese soldiers aim and fire anti-armor missiles. They're practicing how to defend against enemy ships or landing craft headed for the country's shores. It's part of a 3-day annual coastal defense exercise in southern Taiwan, featuring jeeps mounted with different kinds of missiles. Targets simulated a small landing force, forcing the soldiers to practice shooting at different angles.
在今天的操演里面，很多部分是特别结合实战的一个状况来执行操演的工作。
Behind me is Jialutang Beach. Taiwan has labeled this area as a red beach, which means it's the most suitable and one of the most likely spots for a possible Chinese invasion. Military officials have identified a total of 14 red beaches on the main island, and Jialutang is one of the most likely landing spots in the south of Taiwan. China is just 150 kilometers across the Taiwan Strait. Beijing has threatened to invade Taiwan, so the government here has prioritized building up its coastal defenses. The missiles they are using today are called TOW missiles, precision-guided weapons from the US and some of the most advanced in the world.
它的价值其实主要除了它的这个越水射程最远可以达到3750公尺，它是属于半自动导引的部分。那当然，从半自动导引可以借由射手的修正来针对这个目标来实施立即的一个这个弹道改变。
Taiwan has purchased more than 1,500 of these missiles from the US. These drills are just the latest effort by Taiwan to get prepared for combat by using live ammunition, giving its troops a taste of what it feels like to really fire these weapons. It's the first time that Taiwan conducts a major coastal defense drill on the west side of the island, facing China. Now, officials here told me that it's because they want their soldiers to familiarize themselves with the landscape, and it's also a signal that they're taking the threat across the Taiwan Strait seriously.
Taiwan is opening a 3rd representative office in India as the two countries deepen ties. The Foreign Ministry says it is working to open the Taipei Economic and Cultural Center in India's financial hub, Mumbai. Taiwan already has offices in New Delhi and Chennai. Taiwan says the new center will provide consular services and help to expand bilateral trade and investment. It also aims to promote cooperation between India and Taiwan in science and technology, education, and culture. People manufacturing chips make the big bucks in Taiwan. The country's stock exchange has ranked the highest salaries for non-managers last year, and most come from semiconductors. Joyce Sung reports.
From sand to gold, semiconductors are one of the most lucrative industries in the world, and Taiwan dominates the sector, producing the vast majority of the world's most advanced chips. This has certainly paid off for those working in the industry. The latest stats from Taiwan's stock exchange shows that 8 out of the top 10 highest salaries in the country come from semiconductor companies.
像台积电，它的作业员薪水搞不好比一般的这个内需服务业的主管还得高，那这就是行业别之间的差异。
Coming out on top is Taiwan's largest integrated circuit designer, MediaTek. They paid their non-management employees the highest average salary last year, just over $150,000. Meanwhile, TSMC, Taiwan's most well-known and most profitable company, ranked 7th with an average pay of around $100,000. This is a jump up from 16th place for the world's largest contract chipmaker, reporting a 30% average pay raise. Amid a sea of semiconductor companies were shipping firms, Evergreen Marine and Yangming Marine Transport, at 3rd and 9th place, respectively. Though this may be good news for those in chip tech, for others, especially fresh graduates, the gaps in industry pay may have them rethinking their career choices, especially considering that the average annual salary in Taiwan sits just above $20,000.
真的是人家讲的，就是怕入错行。最近这10几年来呢，我们可以看得出来，产业之间的差异越来越大了。那种低薪服务业，你再怎么样努力工作，你的薪水就是低。
That's why the government is figuring out how to best help small and medium-sized firms, especially in a post-pandemic economy. As a start, they're supporting those working to go digital and low carbon.
希望相关的包括服务业跟制造业呢。都来利用政府的这些辅导跟辅助的措施，提升他们的竞争力。那也就是希望中小企业也都能够提升它的品质。
Low wages and industry gaps are not the only issues the local economy faces. While the tech industry may be raking in the money, it's getting harder to bring in the talent. With fewer students graduating from tech vocational schools and dropping birth rates, chip companies may need more than dollar bills to maintain their edge. John Su and Joyce Zhen for TaiwanPlus.
Dozens of children allegedly sedated by their teachers have tested negative for drugs, but it's possible the whole episode was just a misunderstanding. Parents are now reluctant to push for change that would ensure that this kind of incident can't happen in the future. John Venturez has this report.
It's a scandal that's been brewing since May. Allegations teachers at 2 kindergartens sedated children have Chen Kaiwen on the alert. Though her children don't go to either school, one of them is right next to her home.
会问小朋友说，你们就是在学校啊，然后老师对你们的状况之类的，就是会问他们说，你们在学校，老师会不会，就是有什么方式跟你们相处？
Her friend Irene is concerned too.
所以我们能做的就是去多观察小孩子的一个日常状况或者他们的行为举止。
All drug tests have come back negative. But even if the allegations are false, they've left Taiwan shaken. The scandal has even become a political football in the ongoing presidential campaign. Central to this scandal is the fact that Taiwan's kindergarten teachers are expected to give children medicine, as most kindergartens don't have a nurse. And faced with some of the world's longest working hours, Taiwan's parents are too busy to do it themselves. Then there's Taiwan's attitudes towards medicine in general.
在用药本来最根本那个概念上就跟国外不太一样，所以慢慢的它就变成，即便你去上学，老师也会觉得说，看到小孩生病，虽然还是来，但他还是会协助家长就是帮他把小孩吃一些感冒药等等的。
Legally, teachers can only give medicine prescribed by a doctor, but parents sometimes pressure them to do more.
比如说看起来可能是保健用品，比如说是维他命或是看起来是像中药，那最后可能在第一线的老师就会面临说，我喂还是不喂？
The National Federation of Teachers Unions floated the idea of refusing to give out medicine anymore in protest, but it's since reversed its stance. The parents TaiwanPlus spoke to are glad it did.
其实如果有生小孩的爸妈应该都知道，其实停止喂药是不对的哦，因为你停止喂药的话，其实会中断他们的治疗。
我还是希望这个制度要继续，只是或许可能要再建制更完整的一个喂药制度，例如说录影啊，或者是有一个监视的机制。
如果在上课的期间没办法再持续服药的话，我就觉得这反而是对我比较困扰。我不可能请假去帮他喂药啊。
And so, the system that made such a national scare possible is unlikely to change anytime soon. Eason Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Hong Kong-born pop star Coco Lee died at the age of 48 this week. Joyce Sung looks back on her life and legacy.
Many people in the Mandarin-speaking world will recognize Coco Lee's voice as the iconic female warrior in the Mandarin language version of Disney's 1998 film, Mulan. On Wednesday, the Hong Kong-born American pop star died at age 48, following a suicide attempt that left her in a coma. Posting to social media, Lee's sisters said that Coco had been struggling with mental health. The statement read, "Although Coco sought professional help and did her best to fight depression, sadly, that demon inside of her took the better of her." Her sister also pointed out that this year would have been the 30th anniversary of Coco's debut in Hong Kong, the start of a career which revolutionized the Mando pop and international music industry. Lee left Hong Kong as a child and studied in the United States, attending the University of California at Irvine for biochemistry. But she eventually left school to pursue music, starting off in Hong Kong and then expanding to Taiwan and the US. Her 1996 debut album became the best-selling album of that year in Asia.
看了很多我的歌迷，所以完全是觉得回家了，那感觉真的是非常的很温暖，很开心。
Over 50,000 people went to Lee's 1998 Everyone Loves Coco concert in Taiwan, breaking the country's record for most attended Chinese music concert. In the US, she was best known for singing the song A Love Before Time in the 2000 film Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which was nominated for an Oscar in the Best Original Song category. Lee was also a philanthropist, recording several charity singles and joining Michael Jackson's benefit concerts in 1999. In 2004, she also visited AIDS patients in Thailand as part of an awareness tour.
We may not be able to save the people here today, but knowing that we gave them a brief moment of happiness because we care.
Her last single, called Tragic, was released in February of this year. Lee had posted on social media that she had a, quote, incredibly difficult year, but encouraged her followers to spread positivity. For Lee's fans, her voice and trademark smile will always stay in the love that they've shared before time. James Lin and Joyce Zhen for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has set a new record for the amount of power generated by renewable sources. Its generation rate was over 20% for 2 days in a row. This means 1/5 of all electricity used then came from renewables. Taiwan has pushed for more investment in green energy for a decade. Renewables like solar and wind are becoming an important energy source during the country's hot summers. Thank you for watching. Here's what happened. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with the images of Taipei Summer Festival's fireworks at Dadaoteng. I'm Jaime Ocon. Take care and see you next week.